and gentlemen, thanks for tuning in this evening. I hope you had a good day. Hope you enjoy your day. Those of you who are commuting as we speak, it might be difficult in this traffic, but take it easy. Hurt nobody, don't hurt yourself. And we are here this evening to talk stuff. Also, the telephone is available, 954-987-5180 if you want to call in, as we have a special guest with us from Georgetown, South Carolina. And this is a powerful man. I don't even know how I get to meet him. I met him through Deacon Ashley Roper, who works at the Royal, which is the President's Tower. And so he's a man of God. He's come by this evening to educate us and to talk to you and to make his faith be known. He is an attorney and president of the Charlton University School of Law. So he has it all packed up, and we want you to call, and if there's any question that you want to ask, it's fine to do that. He's a board member of the Mission Society of the Alabama and Georgia. And so he not only, thank you, sir, he not only an attorney, but he's a man of God, and he travels extensively, different places, speaks at different conferences, and he's here this evening to share his faith, also some information that you might need that's relevant to you. So at this time, I want to welcome you, attorney.
Thank you, Bishop.
Bless
Thank
you
very much.
I'm glad that we crossed each other's path.
Me too.
I'm glad you were so willing to come and sit among the lowly side.
I feel very honored to be here. Thank you.
Thank you so much. And I understand that your stay there is to rehabilitate yourself from most of us as men, and most of us as pastors and teachers and doctors and attorneys are stressed out. And once in a while you have to get yourself to some place where you can take care of yourself. If you don't take care of yourself, you won't be able to take care of other people. And he is very much in that process of taking a little more care of himself. As you see, he is healthy and highly educated. And so a lot more needs to be done out there in terms of helping people, and this is a cause for which he quests. So with that being said, Attorney Bell, would you look at the camera over there and just tell people know you anyhow. Once you open your mouth, all across the nation, people know you as an attorney, as a man of God, and we want you to talk to him for a little bit, and then we come back to this.
Well, thank you, Bishop. I am appreciative of being invited tonight.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. It's quite an honor.
My pleasure.
I am the president of the Charleston School of Law, and at my age and place in life, it's a lot of fun. I'm able to mingle and teach and talk to young law students and those that aspire to do something for others, and that's what we try to teach at our school. Our school motto is a Latin phrase called pro bono populi, and it means for the good of the people. So we try to teach our students that life is a lot more than just going out and making money. That life is about helping others. My father was a doctor, and he said, "Son, you learn to help others, and the money will take care of itself." And so we take that philosophy, and
yes, sir.
a lot of our kids graduate and they go into the Peace Corps. They might go be a policeman or a fireman or a teacher. They practice law, some of them, of course.
Yeah.
But they've learned how to go out and take that several years and go do something with their lives that helps others. And it's a good lesson. And people, we're so busy in our life, and our lives are so tangled up. Well, in today's world, with all of the communications we have, you can imagine the students, how tangled up they get.
Oh, yes.
And so it's good for them to get out and learn what real people are really all about. So
Right.
I enjoy
But
that.
you serve in two areas. You serve in the natural way you teach people to fit themselves in society, and you also serve in the area where you teach people, encourage people to exercise their faith. As a lawyer and as a teacher, well, you're president of a university, it's a wide spectrum. What can you say to the regular young man, a young woman who sees no ray of hope, no light? How can you tell them what steps to take? Or probably tell them of yourself. Well, your father was a doctor, so it wasn't too bad for you. You grew up into a family whereby at least some money was there to assist you. What about the kid who they want to be a doctor, want to be a lawyer, want to be a teacher, want to be a pastor, or even whatever profession, but do not know where to start?
Well, maybe the best place to start for me was to tell you about how I was raised.
Okay.
My father was a doctor. He was a baby doctor. And he delivered babies.
Okay.
And our church was right across the street from the hospital. My mom sang in the choir.
Okay.
There were 4 children. And Dad, there were only 3 baby doctors in our town. So many times when church was going on, Dad was at the hospital delivering babies.
Yes.
And he would come to church and sit with us sometimes in his green
Yes,
scrubs.
sir.
And,
Yes,
you know.
sir. Yes,
And
sir.
so, but Dad would take us, Mom and Dad would take us after church almost every Sunday. We would go over to the hospital and eat lunch there, eat dinner.
Wow.
Now, Dad was a little frugal.
Okay.
Some might call him cheap. but for a quarter we could have lunch.
Okay.
So for
Yes.
a dollar and a half, and anybody in town could eat there. It wasn't just for the doctors.
Okay.
But at the end of our lunch, when we thought it was the best place in the world to eat, we would go upstairs to the hospital, in the hospital, and visit his patients. Now, Pastor, when you see a lady in bed and she's got her gown on and holding that precious baby,
Yes, sir.
you don't know if they have any money or not. You don't know what kind of people they are. And I think that's probably what helped shape my life more than anything. And then that Sunday afternoon, Dad would go by his office and he would get all kinds of free things from the diaper companies and the formula companies and things. And he knew his patients. And we would get in the car. I'll never forget it. We had an old station wagon. He would fill it up. And we would go visit those people that we'd met a week or 2 ago in the hospital to their homes. And it wasn't anything, we never knew there was a difference. So that's how I think that I had a very special upbringing, and it's helped shape my attitude toward things and my way of life. For those who think that when we're young we can just conquer the world, I've realized that we can only do our part. And so, but if we don't do our part, then we cannot fulfill, I think, what God has asked us to do. I think there's a special mission for everyone.
Sure.
I don't think, my mom had a beautiful voice, could play the piano. But I used to take piano lessons and organ lessons, and I would play organ for the synagogue on Saturday.
Wow.
And go to their service because they needed an organ player.
Right.
They paid me, I think, $1.
$1. Say it again. Pay for $1 to play it.
and I don't play very well, I can tell you that, so that's probably why I got paid so much. But then I would go to our church, and so I got raised in both the Jewish traditions, and then we were Presbyterian at the time, and so it wasn't. But as you know, in my church, we were never told that you had to give your life to Christ. We were one of those churches, you go to church, you're a Christian.
Right.
But then I joined a youth group at the Methodist church, and we were told something different and talked about God's saving grace and how you had to give your life over, and I did as a teenager, and that started my walk with God.
Amen. So basically, I hear in your voice volunteerism. You volunteer as a young man, watch your dad.
Yeah.
And then I hear you talk about the church. The church played a major role in your upbringing. And then I did hear you talk about being a part of the Senate, state Senate. What was your role in the state Senate?
Well, it was actually the U.S. Senate.
Oh, wow.
So I was a
Congratulations.
I was a personal aide. I was not a senator.
Okay.
But I got to be lifelong friends with Joe Biden.
Oh, wow.
Senator Kennedy.
Wow.
And Strom Thurmond. I worked for Strom Thurmond at the time.
Okay.
I was his personal aide for 4 years.
Wow.
And so I was one of the young kids that got that lucky chance to be there when these men were in their heyday. And so I see Joe Biden today, and I have a great remembrance of when he was younger and when he was a young, youthful senator, and now he was able to get people to come together.
Yes, sir.
I think he still has that quality.
Yes.
And I'm not endorsing him right now, but I would not be opposed if he were to run.
Yes.
But he was able to take someone as conservative as Strom Thurmond and as liberal as Ted Kennedy and make them work together.
Yes.
It's something that's hard to do today.
Yes. All right, there's a number of frustrated young men and young women in our communities, and sometimes the time that you have is wasted because you do not know how. But I understand that if you begin to align yourself with some group of a society, of your community, begin to do voluntary stuff, it will assist you, it will help you. So don't waste your time. I also heard you made mention about, well, you're part of the board of the missions. Yeah, I get that right?
Mission Society.
Mission Society.
Right.
You're a member of the board. As an attorney, well, I understand you've been saved and so your life has been changed. How do you get involved in this? So what are the places that you've gone to, the people, what are the compassion that you walked away with, and how is it feasible for you now to run out there? Do you run out there? Are you have a group of people? How do you maneuver as a board member, missions on the outside of the world?
The Mission Society is an offshoot of the Methodist Church. It started with some pastors who believed that the church wasn't going as far as it could in the work of missions.
Right.
And so they started this group about 40 years ago. I've been the member for about 17 years.
Wow.
And we have about 450 missionary families around the world.
That's good.
And we support them, and we also have gotten into training of other people in the world that want to become better teachers, better missionaries. And we've figured out that we can't do it all, but we can train others who also can train others.
Sure.
And can help out there. So I've been very lucky. I've been to many countries around the world and visited these countries and had some amazing experiences because of that. But I would say to any young person out there that is getting started, or quite frankly, anybody that's a little up in age like you and I are, that it's never too late to start.
Absolutely not.
But at our school, in our law school, we require a certain number of hours of public service to graduate.
Okay.
And for example, in Charleston, there is a group that actually helps homeless.
Okay.
Charleston, at one time, had a large homeless population. They don't just try to help them financially; they try to figure out why are they homeless.
Right.
And a large number of them were veterans, and they were not getting their services. They weren't getting their benefits. So we have a lot of our students start there. They've never done this before. They walk in cold. But as over time, like most things happen, they learn how to love and how to give, and it's been but that's just a number of things that public service can involve. Civic work, church work is one, of course.
Okay. So a part of the Methodist Church, I know a number of Methodist churches are in Miami or in Florida here. Do you hook up with these?
I have on occasion, yes. I'll be in what's the name of the town?
Springs?
Coral Springs,
Okay.
in 3 months
Okay.
for a meeting down there.
So you'll be there
At
for
the
the
Methodist
you'll be there for the 3 months? Or in 3 months?
In
you'll be-
3 months.
Just a meeting? Okay. So do you reach out to other groups to assist with training or people, like young people who wants to be a missionary or wants to go on a mission trip, or do you organize mission trip and people of different group can join in to go?
We do all of that.
Okay.
So I'll tell you a funny story. My
Okay.
first trip with the Mission Society, we went to Ghana.
Okay.
And I was told that I would just be coming along as a observer
Right.
to learn.
Right.
So I was comfortable that I wouldn't have to get up and say anything or
Okay.
do anything, and I felt a lot of comfort in that. So went on this trip, and we went into the large capital of Ghana, and we stayed there about a week. Well, the second day we were there, we went out and met with had this training session, and I was assigned to take the names at the door and give them name tags.
Okay.
Well, at the breaks, I was the only person from the Mission Society they'd actually met. So everybody would come and kind of crowd around me, and I got to know all of these people.
Okay. Very good.
Well, the next day was Sunday, and we were invited to a citywide service that I think about 12 churches gathered together,
Mhm.
put on the service. There were 15,000 people.
Wow.
And as I'm walking in, they're handing out programs, and I look down, and there's my name on the program for the offertory worship.
Wow.
Now, Bishop, I've never
Done that
preached in my life, but I can just tell you that was quite a scare. Well, in Ghana, church services last quite a long time.
Yeah,
And
3 hours.
Maybe this was 4.5.
Okay.
And so they said that the offertory service would begin in 2 hours. So I had 2 hours to get ready. There I'm sitting there singing and worshiping and listening to the sermon,
Okay.
trying to figure out what I'm going to say.
Okay.
And it was quite an ordeal, and it was very stressful. I guess I did it okay because we survived, but you never know what's going to face you.
That's it. Yes. Yes. So a young man who wants to be a missionary and he wants to go on a missions trip, if he so desire, but you're out of town and they're in Miami, they're probably not a part of the Methodist Church. Is there any way that
We're now not part of the Methodist Church. We are now broken off completely.
Okay.
And we have all kinds of people from different churches coming to go with us, and we train. We're probably the leader in the world on. We work with many other mission groups.
Okay.
We train a lot of their missionaries before they go out.
Okay.
So we get hired by them to do that.
So would that be an option that if a couple of churches come together or their group comes together and say, Ed, how could we get some training? Would that be something that you could look into?
It would be wonderful, and we actually have a program. We come to your church,
Right.
and we help train the church how to become mission centered, so that about everything in the church we do is mission oriented, except for maybe the person who helps turn on the lights and
Right.
but even there that can be. But your Sunday school, your church, your outreach in the community, all of that is mission oriented.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
So, but there are a lot of churches it's a little harder to get them. And missions is something they begrudgingly give some money to,
Right.
for the kids to go over, but they're not really mission centered or mission oriented.
Okay. How about a city meeting? You talked about a city meeting probably 1 day, 2 days, or for example, if I ask a group from your missions department to come here for a week and just blanket our community, is that a possibility?
What we do is it takes about 6 months to go through the preparations.
Okay.
And so during that 6 months, we work with the church, and we give ideas of how to reach out to the community, and then we have a big weekend celebration. It is quite unique.
Okay.
I've enjoyed going to some of these, and each time it's so inspiring. And then we come back and we check on you, make sure that if you have any needs or help. But it's a wonderful time to outreach and bring people in and introduce them to your church.
Okay. Well, like I think I made mention to you that last Sunday what we did is a regular service. Everyone comes. We have Sunday school at 11 o'clock. Everybody were on the street except those who are not able to walk. They stay at the church and they pray. So we spent at least an hour and a half over there, handing out flyers, praying for people, talking to people, and then we came back to base. What we wanted to do was to have a gathering at the nearest shopping plaza, but we did not get a permission from the owner of the plaza. Fear of slip and fall or that kind of stuff. But we did that. So over the years, what we have done is that we would go to a park. We would have a Saturday morning service there where we have sneakers and shirts and toys for kids, and we have done that for quite a while. As we speak, it's not so easy to do that anymore. Okay, you got to pay for the park, and you got to be on strict rules and regulation. You can talk to people as you want to, but that is something that we so desire of doing. And for this year, church year, that's where my heart is at, to get in the community, and people need the Lord. People badly need the Lord.
I think everybody has their unique ideas how to do it. I remember a church when I was in college that held its service in the parking lot of a huge drive-in restaurant.
Yes.
And everyone would sit on the hoods of their car, and the preacher would stand up with a microphone, and they had thousands of people attending that in the parking lot. You couldn't get in it, so people would park on the streets and walk, and they would sit around on people's cars, or some people would back their vehicles in and sit on the back of the car. But everybody has a different method, and I think that it's how you're called and what you need to do. Your community will tell you what the needs are, and it's there.
Yes. I think some years ago we had a tent meeting at the back. We hoisted a tent, and we had the guitars, we had the drums, and while we were playing and having a good time, the police came. He said, "You got to shut it down." I said, "Why?" He said, "Well, neighbors are complaining of the noise." So it's not that you can hoist a tent out there. Like, first you got to get sides down and nobody can see you, so it's not really attractive anymore. You can't really go on the street, but it's kind of a little bit difficult. But my idea of what I really want to see is like a whole 1 week, like when students are on break, if that was a possibility, 10 or 20 of them, and just go in the community and just hand out tracts and just talk to people, and then after you get names and telephone, you make a follow-up call. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's why I think I want to do.
Sometimes a local community college might give but they might find some students there that would be glad to be a part of that movement. It's amazing what students, how much energy they have.
Is there any planned program that you have for missions in this coming up year?
We do. I'm around and I go places. Being on the board, we don't make those plans, but I do know that there have been a lot of trips to India recently.
Yes.
I've been to Egypt, I've been to Ethiopia, been to Ghana, been to South Africa, I've been to some countries in South America. One of our board members is the Methodist bishop from Brazil, he travels from Brazil to our meetings, and so the world's changing. It's getting more dangerous.
Yes, very.
We have some countries, for example, some of the old Russian countries, we call them the stands.
Yes, sir.
Like Kazakhstan and
yes,
things like that.
Yes.
You can't go there as a missionary. You can't go to China as a missionary. But you got to go there as a business person. So if you go and establish a business, then you're able to make those relationships and those friendships that give you that opportunity to talk about Jesus. And
Okay. I understand that there's an underworld church in some of these countries. You having a connection to any of those people? Any testimony from those
our
people?
missionaries have, but I personally have not.
Okay.
I mean,
Okay.
it's a movement
Okay.
that's growing. So
Okay.
we work with all faiths. It's not a doesn't matter to us if you're Baptist or Church of God or Episcopalians or
Yeah.
you know, we recently had a project in Ghana, in a little town called Ankasi.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some Mormon missionaries there, and so we invited them to come help at the hospital, and they were wonderful.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. So let me ask a question. As an American-born man, and you go to these African countries or these other countries where foods are different, cultures are different, how do you fit in with the food?
Well, for me, I love it. As you can see. But several years ago, when I was in Kenya, I was one of my studies is in cross-cultural communication.
Okay, good.
And so I was at a week-long conference, and I was one of the members of the committee to teach. And one of the pastors came up and asked me if I would mind meeting his daughter, who was a law student, and he knew that found out that I was an attorney, and so the next day, he brought his daughter. Her name was Faith Wambui, and so after the end of the lunch we had, she was a delightful lady, nice girl. She was probably 19 or 20. As an American, it's natural for us to say, I wish you'd come visit sometime.
Right.
So that's what you and I would say to each other every day.
Right.
But when you say that over in that country, that is a direct invitation
Yes.
to come to your home.
Yes.
Well, I didn't realize that because,
Okay.
but here I am teaching cross-cultural communication.
Right.
And so 3 months later, we got a call,
Mm-hmm.
and I was out of the office, and my paralegal, my assistant, told me later, she said, well, you got a call from Reverend Wambui, who said his daughter's ready to come. And I said, what did you tell him? She said, well, Mr. Bell takes a lot of people in, you send her on over. And so I didn't even tell my wife, I didn't think about it.
Okay.
One day, I'm out of town, I get another call. It says, Ed, that young lady from Kenya is here, and she's got 5 suitcases. And I hadn't told my wife yet. And so I said, well, you better go tell my wife. She works with me. And she stayed with us about a year.
Really?
And she now has graduated and has her lawyer's license.
Amen.
And she's getting ready to attend the American University in Washington to get her master's degree in human rights.
Very good, very good, very good. It's a big transition.
It is. But over in Kenya, just like a lot of other African countries, as you know,
Yes.
since you've been there a lot,
Yes.
how you say something means something different
Oh,
to
yes.
them.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah, I made that mistake. I went to Nigeria the first time, and I made a statement, not knowing that they would have held me to my statement. This doctor, she had some student that she do remedial classes with, and I said, I would take care of the bills, and not knowing that it wouldn't be one bill. And when I came back here, she keep on haunting me on the phone, and they wouldn't let go until I pay up every dime. Oh yeah, so yes, certainly, culture, different words mean different things to different people. But then, being an attorney, and you could make the money you want. Why do you involve in evangelism to that extent? You don't have to, but why is it? What is it that you get from it that you could tell someone that, hey, your money is good, yes, but there's something else that I have gathered, derived from it, and I want to pass it on to you, even though you're making money?
well, in my church,
Yeah.
I can't sing.
Mm-hmm.
I can't be in the choir. I'm certainly not a good preacher, but I know how to cook a little bit. So
Okay.
my job in the church is I work in the kitchen, and we cook breakfasts and dinners. But But as an attorney, I think that growing up the way I did, we learned that money was 10th on the list compared to other things. But everybody is called to a different purpose.
Sure.
Bishop, it's when I became a Christian when I was a teenager, Acts 1:8, the Great Commission, was just embroiled in my heart to go out and tell people what it means to have accepted Jesus, and I've lived with that all my life. So that's what drives me.
Amen. Amen. But what can you tell a young man out there in terms of the way that you have chosen? It's okay, but there's something better than, much more valuable to you than all the money that you're making. As you know, professionalism becomes the order of the day today.
It does.
And everyone work all the minutes and the hours that they have to be professional. But people are not going after the spiritual values, which is important for them and for their family that comes after them.
Absolutely.
So there's a great breakdown between that spiritual connection which holds the family together. What can you tell someone that, how do we amend that? Or amend that in their lives and their families?
But isn't that our everyday struggle? And isn't that what those who have been called by God, if we don't get out and talk to others in the right way, and it has to be the right way. Mm-hmm. I don't think it doesn't fit me to go out and just berate people about Jesus. I think that God puts us in those positions, those situations, those encounters, if you will, that allow us to have that conversation in the right way. I'm not a Bible teacher, so I can't do it that way.
Right,
I might not do it like you would do
right,
it.
Right.
I don't get called upon to always pray with people's families who are in need. Mm-hmm. But I do think that young people have got to realize that there is a struggle in this world, that our economy and our culture calls for us to work hard and become better and make more money. But we shouldn't forget that we have a life after this.
Yes, sir.
We've got to take care of.
Yes, sir.
And so all I can tell you is, when I became a Christian, it was because my best friend, who had gotten in an automobile accident and killed, then I realized that life was pretty precious, mm-hmm. and not very predictable. Right. And I realized then that we need to take care of some things before it's too late. So.
Yeah. Well, as you've heard this evening, we have Ed Bell, professor and president of the Georgetown University, and a great man who have taught many and is still teaching. And he's humbled himself to be a servant in the house of God, and he found leisure, privilege, fulfillment in doing so. And not only that, in his regular local church, but he sits on the missions board, where he helps to make decision and shape decision in the lives of millions that he would never meet. So I would suggest to you this evening that if you're looking for some place to let out some of that energy, some of that talent, some of that skills and the abilities of which you have, then the church is a good place for you to start or help out a Sunday school class, or wherever you're called to do a volunteer for, the food program, or you have some skills, the music department, or whatever it is. And so we are so fortunate to have Ed with us this evening. He's traveled all the way from South Carolina to be here. He was met by a member of our church, deacon of the church, at the facility where he's at. And he took the time out to come by here just to share with us, just to acquaint himself with us. And I want to let you know we certainly appreciate that.
Thank you.
This is a privilege that we don't really earn it, but because you're a child of God, a man of God, here we are today talking about values and things that affects our lives and the lives of other people to come. Well, one of the questions that I would ask if you were to look back in the past as serving and being to different countries of the world, what would you think of your impact on the lives of those who you have come in contact with?
You know, God tells us that we are supposed to do the work and He'll do the transformation.
Right.
I had a lady come see me one time 26 years after I had visited her husband when I was a teenager.
Wow.
In the hospital. He died not long after that, but she said that that visit changed his life.
As a teenager?
As a teenager. But I didn't know about it for that 26 years until she wrote me this letter. So we can't ever underestimate what a little kindness will do to people, or a little word that you can say. It's important that we don't miss those opportunities.
That's it. That's it. After 26 years.
So I think the impact is unknown. I think that God, we plant the seed, God will make it grow.
Definitely.
And so
Definitely.
I think we if we do what we can do and do it prayerfully, and I would suggest to people who are out there, find a faith-based charity. Find a something that you can give back to the community.
Right.
You don't have to be called to preach or to talk about God, but it's amazing how selfish it really is to go help other people.
Yes, sir. You made mention earlier on that in some of the communities, some of the people that you dealt with were like are veterans who are less cared for.
That's right.
And in our community, there are a number of veterans, and some of them can't even help themselves. They're actually just vegetating away. I think for young people who wants to volunteer to do stuff, that would be a good area to plug yourself in.
There should be some local veterans charities that are
Right.
out there.
Right.
I had a law student who's graduating a year ago, came to see me, and she asked me what I recommend she do, that she wasn't ready to go practice law.
Right.
And I suggested that she maybe join the Peace Corps, go do something,
Mm-hmm.
you know, that you can learn about people, that you can learn
Right.
about other people.
Right.
And she did. And I hear from her occasionally.
Very well.
So she's in her second year now, the Peace Corps, and she might it's a 2-year stint, and she might sign up again for 2 more years, and she said that she would then be ready to come home. But I think she'll come home with a different perspective.
Right. Oh yes.
And
Oh,
so,
definitely.
I think that's good.
Oh yeah. So serving is very important. You never could tell the life that you touch. You made mention 26 years when he was a teen, and at that age, the person came back to at least thank him and remind him of the great deed that he has done. You talk about Peace Corps. I'm from Jamaica. When I was in Jamaica as a young man, we used to have a whole host of Peace Corps. And they would come and they would go to your school with physical skill, whatever teaching. They would be in the school, they would build the school, they would have to repair stuff in the community. But we don't see that no more. We don't find that kind of community building by the natives of the community and the outside world. Those people have impacted my life, and a number of our people who have grown up, whether it is teacher, nurse, doctor, they were in the hospital, everywhere, and they have helped. And I would encourage our young people, or what would you say to our young men and women who have such energy, such skill. They're overflowing with skills and talent and ability, and sometimes they waste their time and doing the wrong thing. So what would you tell them? How can we get them, how can you understand that this great man, with what he does now and has done in the past and hope to do, is a result of helping others, and the experience that he has gleaned came from helping others, and you could glean the same thing, you could reach where he's at some given time if you would apply yourself to your community.
There's a lady in our church. She's in her 80s.
Wow, 80.
Her name is Louise Walters.
Mhm.
She looks like she's 50. And the minute a disaster happens,
She's there.
she belongs to the Salvation Army, and they have a strike group
Right.
that she belongs to, and they go down with these big food trailers, and she loves to cook, and she is part of that group that goes in and almost like a first responder.
Right. Yeah.
And she'll go, and she's been to Puerto Rico, she's been to the fires out in California. She inspires me. And so you can't underestimate what other people learn from you, and while you'll never maybe know about it,
Yes.
it's important.
Yes.
So I think we can change the world, but we can't sit on our rear ends and do it. We have to get out and have a purpose.
Oh yeah.
And I have to
Oh yeah.
do that.
I remember when they had the earthquake in 80, and they couldn't get no flight into 80, and I flew from here to Santo Domingo, and took a bus from Santo Domingo. Took me 14 hours to get to Port-au-Prince. When I got there was no house, no place. The whole place was just disaster. They had makeshift tents on the outside for the hospital, and all I had was my sleeping bag. And for 3 weeks I was down there. No special home to sleep in. Just go from city to city and just help people.
And there was what was the name of the island, Bishop, that had the volcano about 9-10 years ago that erupted in the Caribbean islands? But remember, it ran everybody off of their island, and
Yes.
these things happen, and I think they're happening more and more because of our climate. There's so much opportunity out there that's not being addressed. As our country gets wealthier, there are a lot of people that are being left behind.
Definitely.
And so we forget that our time is valuable to them as much as it is to us.
Yes, so there's someone out there that needs your hand, needs your help, and you could do well with that. At my stage, they know I'm very busy. I got myself drawn up with the CERT of the community, emergency response team. I learned what to do in time of disaster. I got myself involved with the, citizen patrol. So I give my time patrol to a city once, twice, 4 times for the month or 5 times. So there's stuff out there that you can do, that you can get yourself involved in the touch the lives of people. And on the other area of evangelism, you don't have to stuck in your own church and have some skills that you can apply. You can plug yourself into some group in the community and assist people. And that is all what it's about with your life and my life and our life. I've been involved for 47 years in ministry. I love it to death. I love to meet someone and see transformation takes place. I love people when they make the testimony of what happened to them. It is just a blessing. It's a grace. It's like you're flying in thin air. So I love to meet people. I love to talk about God. And tremendous thanks to you for coming here and share your testimony, share your life in terms of what you do and what you're doing. And
I look forward to being with you on Sunday.
Yes.
And
yes. Yeah, Ed is going to be with us on Sunday. Sunday is Youth Sunday. We line up. We have at least 3 or 4 young people who will give synopsis of, encouraging messages. They'll sing, they'll dance. You make them to be in charge of the service, and then you will be able to just cap off the service with them. So we're looking forward
to about something that happened to me in Egypt.
Okay.
And some encounters with some Muslims.
Okay.
Which I think would be interesting to many people.
Right. So those of you who are watching, tell your friends. Sunday morning, please come on out and let's have a good time. Not only a good time, but hear from someone who's been there, who have done that, and still willing to go and do. We can learn from him. We can emulate his life, as well as you can start building your life that others could emulate you. Well, thank you, Ed.
Thank you.
You're a great man, and we appreciate you coming by. We look forward to have you Sunday with us.
Look forward to it.
That will have a good time.
Thank
in
you
the
very
Lord.
much, in the Lord.
We promise to get you some good Jamaican food.
Well, that might have been the thing that got me here, because I love Jamaican food.
Okay.
So look forward
You
to
had the
it.
curry goat.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
cool.
I have.
Is it jerk chicken?
Jerk chicken. I like the goat better.
Like good better? How about the ackee and codfish? Never heard about that?
Yes, I have. Yes,
Never heard of carlo and cabbage?
I'm not sure I've had that.
I heard about that?
No.
Oh yeah, but I was told as a missionary, wherever you go, whether they give you the blessing, eat it.
You eat it.
So-
in Ghana, you got to watch it take the fur off the goat.
Okay. But you know, the first time I went to Nigeria, and we went to this restaurant, and we sat down, and I was looking around, and I didn't see a knife and fork on the table, and so I watched this gentleman order his meal, and the lady brought out a basin with some water and a towel over her hand, and he washed his hand, they dried it off, and then someone brought the meal out. And I was looking for the knife and the fork, and I just watched him use his fingers to eat the meal. So, yeah, that's what happened. I'll give you an example. I went down to Haiti, up in the mountains, and that was Communion Sunday. And I'll be honest with you, we talk about mountain, I'm talking about mountain. It's rough, rugged, steep. And our people didn't have the best of clothing or the most hygienic way. And they served communion in one chalice. And the congregation was about 150 or 200. And so the pastor blessed the wine and the bread and gave it to the deacons. And they go around from the back and they serve everybody. So you drink, the next person drink, and everyone drink. As a stranger being there, when it came to the last person, and then it was me and then the pastor, all eyes focused on me to see whether or not I was going to drink from the same cup. What do? I drank from it, and I was well received. If I did not, I would not be received.
Absolutely.
And so the friendship that I made that day by simplicity and humility, it's a lasting one. I've been back here several times and people were just happy to see me because I did not prejudice
That's right.
not wanting to drink from the same cup. So sometimes we need to get out of our comfort zone and help some other people. We never could tell the life that we impact. With that being said, we are going to pray. I'm going to ask Ed to pray for our young men and young women out there, and those of you who wants to be involved but you do not know how. There's a number you could call us here, 954-987-5180. I give my personal telephone number, 754-273-2956. You could call me anytime. I am one of those pastors who will get up at midnight, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, and go out there and take care of what needs to be taken care of. I'm not afraid. It's what I love, I do it. So let's hold hands and ask you to pray as we look in the camera and pray for somebody out there this evening.
Pastor, my prayer would be that the people out there that are looking for a way to find themselves and to do something for others be open to listening to God and listening to how He will guide you. It may not come immediately, but I'll promise you if you listen, and I pray that you will do that. Your life will be so fulfilled and so meaningful that you would wonder why it hadn't been done before. So I ask that God bless you and keep you and speak to you in His name.
So, Father, the word that I've been spoken cannot return void. I pray that someone out there this evening will receive the word, that someone's lives will be transformed, that someone who is longing, wanting to make an effort, or have tried before and failed, will hear the voice of a servant of yours who dedicated his life and is giving his life as we speak towards helping others. I pray today that you will give that person strength and the courage to arise above all those things that impede their vision, their desire. And Lord, we thank you for the moment. We thank you for the opportunity. We thank you for what the Holy Spirit is going to do right now in their lives. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Ed.
Thank you, Pastor.
My friend and partner. Appreciate it so much for having you with us. Thank you. God bless you. Good night. We'll see you on Friday evening on our radio broadcast and Saturday evening. So you have a good one.
Is this going to be taped or are we live?
It's just live.
Oh, really?
Live over the United States and all part of the world. Sometimes we get called from Russia, we get called from China.
Do you really?
Yeah, we do. People watch your program, call us.
Hit over here on the right, Pastor. It says okay. Take care of it. There you go. Take care of that.